Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Bud Light. Bud Light's former president of distribution, Anson Frericks, says Bill Gates made a big mistake investing in Anheuser-Busch. Bill Gates recently put around $95 million into Bud Light stock, but that's not the first investment he's made in a beer company. He actually put $900 million into Heineken, which is now down about 10% over the course of around a year. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. I'm trying to get to 30,000 subscribers, so if you can't subscribe, please do subscribe. Coming from Fox Business, another great interview with Anson Frericks. Bill Gates Foundation Trust making Bud Light bet is a big mistake, former Anheuser-Busch executive says. Microsoft co-founders Foundation Trust purchased 1.7 million shares of Anheuser-Busch last quarter. This story I covered about 2 weeks ago in another video when I first found out about the news, but now the news is going around. It's everywhere. Everyone's covering the Bill Gates Bud Light story. And what's new is we've got an interview with Anson Frericks, talking trash about Bill Gates. You couldn't ask for more. Despite Bud Light's parent company, Anheuser-Busch's recent struggles, billionaire investor Bill Gates has poured nearly $100 million into the beer maker, and former executive Anson Frericks says it is a mistake. Quote, Bill Gates is definitely making a mistake, former Anheuser-Busch executive Anson Frericks said. Earlier this year, he already made a $900 million mistake when he invested in one of Anheuser-Busch's latest rivals, Heineken. He did that earlier this year, and since that investment, Heineken's down about 10%, where the broader stock market is actually up 10%. Quote, so if I was looking for advice on investing in software companies, tech companies, I might go to Bill Gates. But if you're looking at the beer industry, he doesn't have a great track record of investing in winners at this point, he added Wednesday on Cavuto Coast to Coast. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Trust, which manages the funds of the foundation of the Microsoft co-founder, which he still runs with his ex-wife, purchased 1.7 million shares of Anheuser-Busch last quarter, according to a regulatory filing. Gates' purchase comes amid financial woes for Anheuser-Busch after a controversial Bud Light marketing campaign sparking a boycott from conservatives and normal people. Bud Light also drew the ire of LGBT activists for not doing more to defend transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Sales took a clear hit. Anheuser-Busch InBev reported a steep drop in profits as a result of the boycott, with U.S. revenue dropping 10.5% in the second quarter, while earnings before taxes, interest, and depreciation fell 28.2%. The company has laid off hundreds of workers amid the fallout. Of course, these layoffs are going to be much worse. That's something we've been talking about on my channel, and the reason it's going to get much worse is because Anheuser-Busch has lost at least 30% of their business for the Bud Light brand and a lot of additional business for Anheuser-Busch's other brands. They're going to have to lay off the people that make the beer because they've lost so much volume. The 360 or so people that Anheuser-Busch has laid off already are only marketing and office people, not involved with physically making the beer. They have approximately 19,000 employees. Laying off a few hundred of them is not going to compensate for all this lost business. There is a rumor they're going to be selling their Newark, New Jersey production plant, and that might cause them to be able to take some of their capacity off and maybe have less layoffs if another company picks up that plant and uses it to make beer. We'll have to see what happens, but I'm expecting to see information about layoffs from Anheuser-Busch coming over the next couple of weeks. Last month, Bud Light lost its 22-year reign as the best-selling beer in the U.S. on an annual basis. Given the company's recent struggles to resonate with its primary consumers, Bill Gates is not necessarily going to connect with the everyday beer drinker, Frericks asserted. Well, for the company's sake, they'd probably be better off with maybe somebody who's more kind of like the everyman type of person, maybe like a Rob Gronkowski, or somebody like that was investing in Anheuser-Busch, not necessarily somebody like Bill Gates. The executive has been critical of his former employer, namely for what he argues was putting politics over shareholders and consumers. Quote, they have yet to really clearly come out and say who they are actually brewing their beer for, he said. Anheuser-Busch, of course, did not immediately respond to comment to Fox News Digital's request for comment. As an outspoken critic of woke politics and business, Frericks is also the co-founder and president of Strive Asset Management. The firm emphasizes acting in the sole interest of shareholders rather than getting entangled in environmental, social, and corporate governance ESG kinds of investments. Bud Light and parent company Anheuser-Busch are still deciding what type of company they want to be, Frericks says. Quote, there's one camp that says Anheuser-Busch, they have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders and to take a look at just providing great products and services for their shareholders. That's the camp that I'm in, he said. There's another camp, this is the BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard camp that would have Anheuser-Busch focus on more stakeholders and stakeholder capitalism, having them not necessarily focus on shareholders, but activists, political organizations, and others like that. Since the fallout from the Dylan Mulvaney campaign, Anheuser-Busch has been working to re-engage with customers by leaning into football, country music, and other quintessential American favorites in its new advertising campaigns. But of course, it's not working. As Frericks notes, leadership from Anheuser-Busch has yet to come out and say who they're going to be focused on, who they're going to be serving moving forward is. Is it going to be on just serving great beer that's cold and it's about football and backyard barbecues for customers? Or are they going to be getting involved in these political issues, he wondered. Anson Frericks has also warned, going back all the way to May, that Bud Light is going to be losing a substantial amount of shelf space very soon. He said right after the summer is over is when the stores, big and small, start to look at what they've been selling, look at what they've not been selling, and then readjust their orders accordingly. So for all the sales that have dropped for Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch, now in the future, they're going to be dealing with less opportunities to move their product, because even if the product was discounted or free, it doesn't matter. If the store can't sell it, they can't stock it, because they only make money when they sell stuff to customers that customers come in and want. And that has certainly not been Bud Light. Now, the idea that Bill Gates is buying this stock in Anheuser-Busch because he loves Bud Light or because he thinks beer is a good investment would be reasonable. But at the same time, Bill Gates does a lot of strange things. One of the things Bill Gates is up to now, Bill Gates announces $168 million to develop a next generation malaria vaccine. Then, of course, they sell these vaccines, and somehow his foundation seems to make money off of this. Coincidentally, from the blog of Bill Gates, the world's newest weapon against malaria, mosquitoes. So Bill Gates is utilizing specially engineered mosquitoes and releasing them into the populations of the world to try to save them from malaria. But he's also developing a malaria vaccine. He seems to be very interested in malaria. Interestingly, from Associated Press, a Bill Gates-tied mosquito project is not responsible for recent U.S. malaria cases. There were mosquitoes with special engineering by Bill Gates and his team that had something to do with malaria. Apparently, from Gates' Notes' own website, they're utilizing specially engineered mosquitoes to help deal with malaria, and now all of a sudden there are some malaria outbreaks. Also from Forbes, malaria cases in U.S. trigger unfounded claims about Bill Gates' mosquito project. You know, it's funny when you see the word unfounded, fake, and things like that in mass media, it seems like they're trying to distract you away from something. I can't say what this is about exactly. I don't know how this really relates to Bud Light or investments in beer, but Bill Gates seems to be involved in a lot of unusual things. From Time, why billionaires are obsessed with blocking out the sun. Does it seem like a good idea to block out the sun? Would you want your government to be blocking out the sun and just kind of see what happens? Can they unblock it once they've blocked it? What does this have to do with Bill Gates? From Forbes, a Bill Gates venture aims to spray dust into the atmosphere to block out the sun. What could go wrong? That's a good question. Let's read a little bit of this. Microsoft's billionaire founder Bill Gates is financially backing the development of a sun-dimming technology that would potentially reflect sunlight out of Earth's atmosphere, triggering a global cooling effect. That would be the purpose of utilizing the technology. The stratospheric controlled perturbation experiment, launched by Harvard University scientists, aims to examine this solution by spraying non-toxic calcium carbonate dust into the atmosphere, a sun-reflecting aerosol that might offset global warming. Well, that sounds nice, and if it works, I hope nothing unexpected happens, but I would say more so, I would hope that he's not allowed to do things like this. I don't really want Bill Gates releasing mosquitoes. I don't want Bill Gates blocking out the sun. I'd like to enjoy the sun the way it is right now, and I understand his concern that the sun is getting too strong and we need to be worried about that, but I'm not really 100% trusting of Bill Gates. I also seem to hear that Bill Gates is doing this and Bill Gates is doing that. It's not like Bill Gates is proposing to do things. It seems like we hear about it after he's already done it or he's just about to do it, and there's no time to even question him. Maybe Bill Gates should go in front of Congress and discuss with them first about blocking out the sun in some public hearings, or if he wants to release millions of special mosquitoes in the United States, It would be nice to be able to get some back and forth with him before he goes ahead and does these projects. In the meantime, Anson Frericks, former president of distribution for Anheuser-Busch, who really does know the Bud Light business well, he knows the beer business well, he's pointed out there's actually no good financial reason for Bill Gates to be throwing millions of dollars into Heineken and to be throwing millions of dollars into Anheuser-Busch. The beer stocks don't look like they're going to do well. Perhaps there's another reason that Bill Gates is doing it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.